I accidentally discovered that the goddess who sent me black stocking photos every day was actually Mikai, the aloof best actress adored across the internet. Just moments ago, she messaged me, asking if I preferred black stockings or white ones. Come on, only kids make choices. Naturally, I wanted both. But before I could brag about it, our flirty chat history was completely exposed during a live variety show. Fans across the internet erupted in outrage. They even mistook my best friend for the best actress's boyfriend. Obsessed fans pressured him to quit show business. When I saw the trending post with that photo of long legs and black stockings, I was so terrified that I threw my phone away. I'd always thought she was a player casting a wide net, until I opened her Moments post on a colleague's phone. I realized in horror that every one of those photos was visible only to me. Just before that, I'd come across another new post from that goddess. As usual, it was a photo, but this time, the style had changed. It had an ancient, teasingly revealing charm. Her fingertips lightly lifted her skirt, revealing and concealing her long legs wrapped in black stockings. It held my gaze captive. I stared for a long while, my face heating up despite myself. I couldn't remember when I added her. I only remembered that, ever since I noticed her, her posts had all been pictures like this. Tone-ups, long legs, and an escort figure. She posted one every few days, constantly stirring people's desires. I suspected she was a seasoned player. I had 3 reasons. First, she never showed her face. Second, she knew exactly how to tease. Third, she had no reservations whatsoever. What decent person posts on moments like that? I figured looking was free anyway. I only admired the pictures, but today's post got to me. Those black stockings felt like they were aimed right at me. My sleepiness vanished at once. I forwarded the photo back to her. Is it hot at home? Why are you wearing so little today? I sent the message, but she ignored me. I didn't know whether she was busy or simply couldn't be bothered to reply. I didn't think much of it. With lunch break almost over, I hurriedly took a nap. When I opened my eyes again, the uproar in the office had jolted me awake. Several female co-workers were huddled together, each clutching a phone, lamenting that they'd had their hearts broken. My mind was still foggy. So, I listened in. Apparently, some major celebrity had just gone public with a new relationship. Rubbing my eyes, I pulled out my phone and opened Weibo's trending list. The moment I saw the top 2 names, I went completely blank. Fang Yuan and Mikai. Fang Yuan was actually my best friend. A wave of resentment at my friend's betrayal surged through me. That bastard got a girlfriend behind my back and dared hide it from me. But when I opened the leaked video, my jaw nearly hit the floor. The footage was clearly from the recording of a variety show. The game required everyone to make a Moments post, saying they were unhappy. The rules were simple. Everyone had to post on Moments, writing that they were in a terrible mood. Then see who received a comforting message first. Among the row of silent phone screens, the one on the far left was the first to light up with a WeChat notification. It was Best Actress Mikai's phone. The host eagerly leaned over and opened the screen, keeping the energy up like a true professional. Let's see which thoughtful person sent their concern. But the host voice abruptly caught as if someone had grabbed their throat. They froze on the spot, because on the chat screen, there was not a trace of comfort. It was no heartfelt greeting at all. It was an incredibly provocative, sexy photo. Beneath it was a flippant message. Is it hot in there? Why are you dressed so scantily today? The video cut off right there. The video quality was awful. It was probably secretly recorded by someone in the audience. But however blurry it was, the chat window's details were still clear enough. The sender's profile picture was male star Fang Yuan. His contact name was listed as Spatula. The message had been sent to Best Actress Mikai. It even included a private photo she had never made public. The message was highly suggestive, bordering on harassment, and Fang Yuan had previously said publicly that Spatula was his nickname. Naturally, netizens assumed it was him. The Fang Yuan and Mikai scandal immediately shot up the trending list. I rubbed my stiff face hard. This earth-shattering scandal left me wondering if I was still sleepwalking. My chat with that goddess was still open in the background. My fingers trembling, I switched back to WeChat. The exact same chat history stabbed painfully into my eyes again. My mind exploded with a bang. I was finally wide awake. That woman who posted on Moments every day, showing off her smoking hot body, really was the famous Best Actress Mikai. The online uproar kept escalating. The ones hit hardest were Mikai's most devoted fans. Guys, does anyone have the high-resolution original of that picture? Please share it. I want it as my phone wallpaper. Best Actress Me is actually this wild and private. That is absolutely incredible. That teasing comment had the longest reply thread. I casually opened the replies and nearly got overwhelmed by fans flooding the comments. Every fan was shocked. My scalp tingled too. I kept scrolling through the comments, hoping their gasps would dull my own shock. Before I could recover, another notification appeared at the top of my screen. It was Fang Yuan. He sent me a screenshot. Spatula, don't tell me you did this. It was a screenshot of that private chat. I had no way to explain myself, so I could only admit it with my head down. He first sent a string of ellipses, then seriously asked, "How did you end up flirting with me, Kai?" Honestly, I couldn't figure it out either. I was clearly just an ordinary guy. How had I humiliated myself before the whole country? Sure, I was the one publicly humiliated, but I was afraid of dragging my friend into trouble. I couldn't help asking, "Is this causing you trouble?" He replied, "It is not a big problem for me. I just need to clarify that it was not me." Mikai's side is probably in deeper trouble. I pressed my lips together. I was still processing the fact that the goddess was Mikai. My friend did not forget to gossip. "What exactly is going on between you and Mikai?" I could not answer right away. All I could say was, "She's the female player I told you about." Fang Yuan was probably so shocked that he nearly flipped his desk. "So, after all this, the fish she had gone to such lengths to catch was you." All I could think was, this was absurd on a whole new level. Mikai and I had absolutely nothing to do with each other. We belonged to two completely different worlds. There was no way she even knew who I was. I had only ever seen her on a screen. Even if we gave it every possible benefit of the doubt, even if she knew someone like me existed, I only saw her as a major celebrity. We had not the slightest connection in real life. She was a best actress. Why would she deliberately try to reel me in? Just as I was internally rejecting that ridiculous thought, another message banner popped up at the top of my phone. This time, it was from the other person at the center of the storm. She had actually replied to me. "Then I will try to wear even less from now on." I stared at the screen, swallowing hard. "Lady, do you even know who you are flirting with? If she were just an ordinary player, maybe I could flirt a little. But she was freaking the nationally beloved best actress across the internet. I truly could not understand how she could still find the time to flirt with an online stranger she had never met. The moment the scandal broke, Fang Yuan issued a clarification. He made it clear that he was not the one who sent those messages. People in the industry also stepped forward to vouch for him. The WeChat account Fang Yuan normally used was not that one at all. I quickly changed my profile picture and username too, afraid someone around me might piece things together. Mikai alone did not react at all. She did not have her team release a statement, nor did she explain herself in person. It was as if she knew nothing about it. The entire internet was in an uproar. What netizens attacked most fiercely was the complete collapse of her flawless image. After all, Mikai had always been hailed as the entertainment industry's innocent sweetheart. She had always seemed beyond reproach, with not even a hint of a dating rumor. Her daily routine was either filming on set or working out at the gym. There did not seem to be room for any other pastime. She always came across as poised and proper, and she dressed from head to toe in conservative clothes. Her style of dress had even been the focus of a special interview with a reporter. On camera, Mikai said her body could only be admired by the man she would one day marry. Only he would have that right. Once footage of that interview was released, countless casual viewers shared and liked it. Everyone praised her, calling her a breath of fresh air in the entertainment industry. Looking back, the higher people had praised her, the more vicious the backlash and mockery became. After all, she had repeatedly claimed that only her husband would ever see her, yet privately sent revealing photos. Even I could not help complaining. Her saintly mask was far too fake. If she truly only showed herself to her partner, then why was she on Moments every day, posting all that stuff like crazy? Picture after picture, without stopping. Damn it, I had practically seen all of her. Was I supposed to be her future husband or something? Reality proved that I had underestimated Mikai's ability to handle pressure. Right after her WeChat account was exposed, she did not pull back. That very night, she actually posted another Moments update. It was another picture, but far more revealing than the previous ones. Just as she said, she was wearing even less. I truly did not know how to react. All I could think was that celebrity personas really were flimsy. With Mikai's approach, she was an expert at casting a wide net and catching plenty of fish. She was a top-tier player, without question. Yet people still called her the entertainment industry's model of feminine virtue. It was laughable. I simply muted her moments. But before long, Mikai actually messaged me first with that picture. She asked, "Is this okay?" I did not play along with her flirting. I replied directly, "What exactly do you want?" She was even more direct. "I want to pursue you." I jolted and deleted her immediately. Even after deleting her, my heart kept pounding. Good thing Fang Yuan had warned me. I really was just another fish in her pond. I had barely climbed out of that pond when my friend got shoved right into it. It turned out he and Mikai had already been connected through work. They were set to jointly endorse a luxury mineral water brand. The contract had been signed long ago, but it had never been officially announced. Now, when the brand saw the rumors surrounding its two ambassadors explode, the brand decided to fan the flames. The commercial shoot was immediately scheduled. Afraid my friend would get played, I repeatedly told him to stay sharp. He kept assuring me that he would be careful. But on the first day of filming, he dropped a bombshell. It turned out, Mikai had personally recommended him to the client for the endorsement. My head filled with question marks. Amid my confusion, I could not help thinking. Mikai's fishing pond was unbelievably vast. I hurriedly asked, "So, did she try to get handsy with you?" My friend's response was not what I expected. "No, she acted completely normal. If you had not told me beforehand, I never would have guessed. She could toy with people's hearts like that in private." With a sigh, I typed back, "That is just her public image." Afraid he would let his guard down, I called him directly. I told him everything about Mikai wanting to pursue me. I stressed that she would hook anyone she could. But my friend focused on the wrong thing. "See, she really does want to pursue you." He turned the conversation back to Mikai again, wondering if she gave me this opportunity because of you. I was so annoyed I laughed. I was so frustrated with him for not seeing the obvious. "Why are you putting a devoted lover filter on a player?" My friend just chuckled foolishly. "What if she really is not a player?" I immediately shot back. What normal person posts on moments like that? At first, I thought she was casting a wide net among the rich and powerful. My friend laughed even harder. "I think you are the one she has her eye on." I was speechless. I barely even know her. "Maybe between you two." He suddenly cut himself off. Then, a cool female voice came through the phone. "May I sit here?" After all the gossip I had absorbed these past few days, I recognized that voice at once. It belonged to Mikai. Clear and crisp. It was instantly recognizable. Then my friend's voice returned. After a brief rustling sound, Mikai asked, "Are you closed with spatula?" My friend sounded like he was struggling not to laugh. "Then do you know why he deleted me?" Mikai sounded utterly confused. "If he did not like the photo, I can make the next one more revealing." My friend snorted and could not hold it in anymore. Only after a while did he remember to smooth things over. "I will ask him for you." "Thank you," Mikai said politely. The moment she left, my friend laughed even more wildly, wave after wave, until anger flared inside me. I snapped, "Stop laughing." He gave to final chuckles, then deliberately added, "She seems to know you." At my friend's urging, I went to the commercial set to take a look. Though the set had been cleared, there were still plenty of people around it. They stood 3 rows deep inside and out, a solid mass of people. Through that crowd, my eyes found Mikai at once. Maybe that was the main character aura people always talked about. She stood quietly among the crowd, and in my field of vision, there was no room for anyone else. She wore a short black dress, her figure slender and graceful, like an elegant orchid. She was leaning forward slightly, letting the assistant beside her miss the stray hairs on her forehead and temples. The assistant's hand seemed to tremble by accident, sending fine droplets into her eyes. Her lashes fluttered softly, and the droplets slid down her face. She opened her bright, water-glimmering eyes, and reassured her softly, "It is okay. Let us continue." I silently thought to myself, this superstar's temper was surprisingly good. As if sensing something, Mikai's gaze swept in my direction. She froze for a moment, then a flicker of panic crossed her eyes. Seconds later, she calmly shifted her gaze away, yet the side of her jade-pale cheek visibly flushed red. When I moved closer, I even heard the makeup artist mutter in confusion, "Have you already applied blush?" Beside me, Fang Yuan was wearing that carefree, mischievous grin again. Lowering his voice, eager to stir up trouble. You really do not know each other from before. She blushed the moment she looked at you. Honestly, I was puzzled too. Was Kai really this innocent? But would someone so innocent post things like that on moments? The next second, Fang Yuan gave me the answer. Just before filming began, he shoved his phone into my hand and said briskly, I just added Kai on WeChat. Go check her moments. I muttered. What is there to see? I still opened it obediently. What I found surprised me. Her moments feed was completely empty. There was nothing there. Only one notice remained. Only moments from the past 3 days are visible. It was literally empty. But when I checked 2 days ago, her page had been full of borderline risque photos. Had she deleted them all, or made them visible only to me? I looked at Kai waiting nearby, more convinced than ever that this woman was an unsolvable mystery. The commercial shoot went smoothly. Before long, they wrapped. Everyone gathered together, discussing where to have dinner that night. Bored, I trailed behind Fang Yuan, with the feeling someone kept watching me. I followed my instincts to find the source. But no matter which way I turned, the source of that gaze always led back to Kai. Fang Yuan watched the show with great enjoyment. If you have something to say it to her face. Just staring each other down like this. Do you think flowers will bloom? While I was still debating whether to make the first move, Kai was already walking toward us. She had changed into casual clothes, neat and fresh. She wore a white dress, with a neckline for once cut rather low, revealing a dazzling expanse of pale skin. Perhaps because she rarely dressed so scantily. As she approached gracefully, she unconsciously reached up to tug at the open fabric over her chest. It was such an ordinary little gesture, yet somehow utterly seductive when she did it. When Kai reached us, she looked at Fang Yuan first. Fang Yuan, the dinner location, is the Grand Hyatt. Fang Yuan deliberately acted flattered. Oh, since when does something so minor require the great best actress me to deliver the message herself? Kai was momentarily speechless. Looking embarrassed, she shifted her gaze away, then secretly looked toward me. She made no sound. She merely mouthed the question, Are you coming? At that moment, I felt an absurd, helpless feeling of being at a loss. To me, this exchange was exactly like two young lovers, pretending not to know each other in public, while secretly exchanging flirtatious looks. But was I really that close with her? Clearly, this was not the time to press for answers, but I could not hold it in any longer. I stepped closer to her, using the filming equipment beside us as cover, and asked in a low voice, Did we know each other before? She nodded softly. Then those photos you posted on moments. Without looking away, she stared at me for a long while, as if gathering every ounce of courage, before slowly saying, Everything on my moments was meant for your eyes alone. She leaned close to my ear. Her ears were so red they seemed ready to bleed, right before my eyes. Her voice was soft, yet carried unwavering conviction. Just for you. In an instant, I felt my ears burst into flames. The post-shoot dinner was lively, but amid all the noise, the words circling through my mind were still Kai's, just for you. I realized I absolutely could not dwell on that. Once I did, there was no stopping. My face instantly burned. Fang Yuan poked my cheek. What are you thinking about? Why are you not eating? I said nothing, afraid he would tease me if I told him. I glanced up. The culprit herself still had red ears, but her expression had settled. She was solemnly turning down people urging her to drink. The table was covered in delicious food, but even as someone getting a free meal, I suddenly lost my appetite. Beneath the tablecloth, my hand found my phone and quietly opened WeChat. Right away, I saw the friend request Kai had sent 5 minutes earlier. She had sent me plenty of requests these past 2 days, but I had ignored everyone. But this time, as if possessed, I accepted it. Just like that, Kai and I became WeChat friends again. As though under a spell, I opened her moments profile again. Sure enough, it was still full of sexy, provocative photos. My thumb scrolled mechanically, one picture after another. Judging by the style alone, it did not look like the moments feed of a respectable girl. Fang Yuan leaned over for a look, and could not help laughing. What is she trying to achieve by posting all this? She is practically inviting criticism. I was just as baffled. So I braced myself and messaged her directly. Kai, seated across from me, clearly froze for a moment. She took out her phone, and after reading the message, deliberately looked up and glanced my way. Then, she promptly sent me a screenshot. When I enlarged it, I was instantly speechless. The screenshot showed a moment's post I had made myself. The timestamp showed a late night 2 months ago. The caption read, "Sexy hotties are the greatest treasures on earth. Give it a like." Fang Yuan witnessed the entire exchange. Laughing, he collapsed against my shoulder. A top actress like her, willing to embrace a risque image for love. Ha ha ha, that is so touching. This is so moving. I could cry. I am the one who wants to cry, damn it. That post had barely been up before I deleted it. Not even a minute later. Who would have thought fate would play such a cruel joke? And Kai had caught it in a screenshot. Late night impulses really are temporary, but the embarrassing evidence lasts forever. Kai immediately sent another message. "I thought I was playing to your taste." I stared at the screen, frozen stiff. Kai's seemingly absurd, thoughtless, illogical actions. In that instant, suddenly all had a reasonable explanation. She had feelings for me. But why would she ever fall for me? I had a stomach full of questions to throw at her. But this kind of question, no matter how I considered it, did not seem fit to ask so bluntly. I typed those few words, deleted them, then typed them again. Over and over. Yet I never managed to send them. I kept hesitating until dinner was over. Everyone gradually left. Kai had disappeared long before that. I followed behind Fang Yuan, heading toward the parking lot. Maybe because something was weighing on my mind, I seemed distracted the whole time. Just as we reached the van, Fang Yuan suddenly said, "Kai said she wants to borrow my van." I stared blankly for several seconds before it sank in. I said yes. Fang Yuan patted my shoulder. "She's in the van. You'd have a good talk. Brother Zhao and I will take a walk. Call me when you're done." Before I could decide, he gave a dashing wave and walked off. I hesitated there for quite a while, but finally opened the door. Sure enough, Kai was sitting quietly inside. She sat on the right side of the van's back row. When she saw me get in, her eyes and brows immediately filled with an unmistakable joy. I muttered to myself, "Is seeing me really that exciting?" The door slammed shut. In that small enclosed space, her poised, reserved manner seemed to affect me too, making me somehow afraid to behave even slightly frivolously. I tentatively asked again, "We really knew each other before?" She nodded gently. "In our first year of middle school, we were desk mates." I racked my brain, but still came up blank. That first year of middle school for me was a huge turning point. My mother died of illness that year. When my father changed careers, I transferred schools with him. From then on, my life was one of constant upheaval and displacement. An insignificant middle school desk mate could hardly, in those turbulent years of mine, leave much of an impression. She softly reminded me, "Little Mew." At last, a faint memory flashed through my mind. Back then, students loved giving people nicknames. Being withdrawn and quiet was enough to make someone a target. Anyone who rarely spoke would get called Little Mew. Back then, she was extremely shy. She almost never approached classmates to speak to them. Even when she walked, she habitually kept close to the wall. That withdrawn nature quickly made her someone everyone excluded. Once, when she needed to use the restroom, a group of girls blocked the door. They insisted she beg before they let her in. She refused to say a word. The scene grew bigger and bigger. Everyone watching was laughing. Her fair little face burned crimson with humiliation. When word reached me, I was a wild-tempered kid, spoiled by my parents. So I grabbed a broom and charged over. I swung the broom, forcing a path straight through the crowd. The girls were still yelling in protest. I gripped the broom and stood guard outside the girls' restroom, snarling, "Let's see who dares bully my deskmate." That cringe-worthy teenage memory made me laugh despite myself. Kai's eyes sparkled. "You remember?" I nodded, looking her over. "You've changed so much. Who could have imagined it?" That little girl who was bullied back then had become a star admired by everyone. She pressed her lips together and smiled shyly. The way she blushed at the slightest thing and the tone of her moment's feed were complete opposites. Finally, I could no longer contain my curiosity. "Did you really post all those moments for me?" Her gaze was clear and sincere. Yes. A deep sense of guilt rose within me. I felt like the villain who had corrupted an innocent girl. She continued. Ever since you transferred away, I've never stopped thinking about you. I asked everywhere about where you were, but I could never find you. I even begged my parents to use every connection they had, but we still couldn't learn where you gone. Her voice gradually turned a little hoarse. After a moment of silence, she changed the subject. But thankfully, after all these years, I've finally found you again. Her expression grew utterly serious. I want to tell you that I like you. I froze. I had no idea how to respond. Having a wonderful girl like Mikai care for me should have made me proud and happy. Yet I couldn't feel happy at all. The gulf carved by time could not be crossed. The person Mikai could never forget was the spirited boy I used to be. But I was no longer that person. All I could do was smile bitterly and say, I've changed a lot too. I know. She immediately replied, You don't understand. I've changed. Now, I never take the initiative to make new friends. When I face unfairness at work, I weigh the pros and cons before deciding what to do. I'm no longer confident or open-hearted. I'm no longer positive or optimistic. The me now is just an ordinary person. I looked at her and said seriously, If this is the me you like, you'll be deeply disappointed. What exactly did you tell that superstar actress? Why did she look, when she got out, like she was in such a terrible mood? The moment Fang Yuan climbed into the van, he eagerly demanded the details. There was no point hiding it, so I told him everything. When he heard it, his eyes nearly popped out. You actually rejected me, Kai. His voice suddenly rose. You actually rejected me, Kai, damn it. I rubbed my ears in annoyance, making it clear I could hear him fine. There was no need to shout. He still looked utterly unwilling to accept it. What right did you have to reject her? She likes you for who you are, anyway. I was about to explain that there was a huge difference, but he wouldn't listen. That's me, Kai. So many men would kill for a chance to sleep with her. The opportunity landed right in your lap, and you actually turned it down. Even dating her for 2 days before breaking up would be worth it. I said bluntly, just because she likes me doesn't mean I have to agree to date her. That's true. Fang Yuan instantly changed his tune and agreed. We leaned back in the van's rear seats. Then he suddenly asked, curious, what were you really like in your first year of middle school? I don't remember the details. I only remember waking up every day, feeling as if every flower in the world had bloomed just for me. I'll give you a simple example. Back then, our teacher had us introduce ourselves in front of the class. I took a deep breath, pushing down my toe-curling embarrassment as I tried to reenact it. Hello, everyone. My name is Spatula. I'm sure you'll all like me, because who doesn't love food made with a spatula? Ha ha. Fang Yuan shook with laughter and punched my shoulder. You're unbelievable. Those youthful years we shared made me sigh as well. I really wish I could have seen you back then. You must have been so much fun. Not like when I first met you, when you were completely lifeless. Not fun at all. The year I met Fang Yuan was the darkest time of my life. Calling me lifeless was not an exaggeration at all. But strangely enough, the two of us still became best friends who could talk about anything. His confidence and openness, his upbeat, positive spirit, were exactly like the person I used to be. Being friends with my former self was a truly strange feeling. I thought this farce would end there, but I had clearly underestimated the terrifying influence Mikai had as a top actress. It turned out that whenever she went out, a trail of paparazzi followed right behind her. That very night, an explosive piece of news shot to the top of the trending charts at lightning speed. More proof of top actress Mikai's romance. Mikai and Fang Yuan meet secretly in a van for 2 hours. Fang Yuan shoved a screenshot in my face, demanding an explanation. This is already the second time I've taken the blame for you. I was in the wrong and had no defense, so I could only thump my chest and swear. Don't worry, buddy. There definitely won't be a third time. Since we laid everything out that day, Mikai had never contacted me again. She had stopped updating her social feed too. It was as if she had suddenly vanished from my world. But perhaps this was how things were meant to be. She and I belonged to different worlds. Even if chance had sparked something between us, we would eventually drift farther apart. But never in a million years did I expect Mikai's mother to come looking for me. When she stepped out of the back seat of that imposing Rolls-Royce, everything about her radiated an elegant air of unmistakable wealth and status. She said gently, "Could you come by this weekend?" As I heard several co-workers behind me whispering and giggling, it looked exactly like a rich family's breakup intervention. Awkwardly, I stepped forward, lowering my voice. I explained, "Ma'am, there really is nothing between me, Kai and me." She immediately smiled and reached up to pat my head. Having gone so long without a mother's affection, I was stunned for a moment. The nervousness in my heart slowly faded. Once we got into the car, Mikai's mother softly said, "Kai has locked herself in her room for days. I wondered whether something had happened between the two of you." My heart lurched as I muttered inwardly, "Is she here to force me into marriage?" Seeing how nervous I was, she could not help laughing again. "Don't be so nervous. When you're nervous, you make me nervous too." She changed her approach and tone, speaking even more gently. "This thank you comes far too late, but I still have to say it. Thank you for bravely standing up for her back then. Thank you for patiently talking with her every day. And thank you for helping her open up." It turned out Mikai had mild autistic traits. She was taught at home throughout elementary school, with distinguished tutors giving her private lessons at home. As she grew older, the doctors all agreed that it could hinder her personality development. They suggested sending her to school to spend more time with children her age. That was how she ended up becoming my desk mate. Her mother said her father and I were terribly worried she would not adjust, but reason reminded us we could not step in at every turn. Thankfully, she met you. Her words brimmed with gratitude. All I felt was ashamed. I didn't do anything important. She smiled and replied, "But she truly has been getting better." She gradually began talking at home. At dinner, she would share funny things from school. She even said she'd met a little angel. The word angel made me blush. She noticed my embarrassment and smoothly changed the subject. "By the way, she didn't do anything to you after you met, did she? After you transferred away back then?" She couldn't accept the blow for a while. She developed some psychological problems. Sometimes she had hallucinations, thinking you were still by her side. Sometimes, she even imagined you were her boyfriend. I was completely stunned. Then it all made sense. No wonder, after Mikai and I reunited, she blushed so easily and acted like a girl head over heels in love, so familiar with me. So that was where it all began. Mikai's mother continued, "But don't worry, she's recovered now." Her mother added, "Still, she's much better now." But I thought maybe she wasn't fully over it. She took my hand and gently patted it. "If you don't dislike her, could you try getting to know her? Even if you just keep her as a backup while you see how things go." She softened her request and said, "I know this request puts you in a difficult position, but as her mother, seeing her lock herself away and lose all appetite, it cuts my heart like a knife. She's always been shy and passive. All the initiative she's shown in her life may have been reserved for you." The car slowly pulled up outside my building. Finally, she said, "I hope you'll give it serious thought." I did think about it. I even reflected on what I'd said to her that day. I really had been too cold. I couldn't let my loss of confidence in myself make me coldly reject outright Mikai's deep love for me. That was far too unfair to her. As I agonized over what excuse to use to contact Mikai, at the top of my phone screen, a new message notification suddenly appeared. It was from Mikai, who was always so passive. "Can we meet again and talk properly? To keep Fang Yuan from getting dragged into this again." I set our meeting place at my own apartment. Before long, Mikai rang my doorbell. I opened the door. Mikai stood outside, looking both drained and exquisite. It sounds contradictory, but that was exactly how she felt to me. She wore a custom-made dress, with an elegant silk scarf around her neck. A fresh jasmine scent drifted from her wrist. She had clearly dressed up with care, but no matter how carefully she prepared, she couldn't hide that shadow of weariness. Her eyes were bloodshot, with loose strands falling over her forehead. She had visibly lost weight these past few days. She slipped sideways through the doorway and smiled. "Long time no see." I turned and asked if she wanted something to drink. She said no. "I'll just say a few things, then leave." She remained standing in the entryway, stubbornly staring at me as she spoke. She still stood stubbornly by the door, her defiant eyes fixed on me as she said, word by word, "I've thought about it for so long, but I can't understand. Why did I disappoint you? I could never be disappointed in you." Her expression was utterly sincere. For you to appear in my life again is already heaven's greatest gift to me. If her mother hadn't told me all that first, I might have taken this as clumsy sweet talk. But now, I felt she was laying her heart bare. "You're not ordinary." She stood there, so beautiful, so perfect. Yet she told me with utter sincerity, "In my eyes, you've never been ordinary. You're my angel." A surge of bittersweet emotion rose in my chest. I couldn't speak. After a long silence, I asked, after I transferred away, "Did they still bully you?" "No." Her voice was proud and confident. "I told them my deskmate would come back someday. Who would dare touch me?" I quickly turned away to hide the mist in my eyes. This feeling of being someone's whole world, I hadn't felt it in far too long. Being cherished, being seen. I went to pour a glass of water to steady myself. Behind me, she said solemnly, "I want to pursue you." "I mean it." I handed her the water. She repeated, "I want to court you." I asked, "You won't drink unless I say yes?" She froze for a moment, hesitating for 2 seconds. She didn't drink, so I took that as my way out. "Then I accept. Drink up." She smiled like a child, tilted back her head, and drained the glass. "Sweet," she declared. I silently thought, "You're such an idiot." Mikai didn't stay at my place long that day. She said she had to hurry home and make a courtship plan. I thought that was a little excessive, but I let her do as she pleased. I never expected the rumors about her and Fang Yuan to be revived for a third time. The paparazzi first photographed Fang Yuan coming and going from my place, then caught Mikai coming and going too. The headline read, "Fang Yuan and Mikai's love nest exposed. Coming and going, sweet as can be." I was speechless and helpless. I could only send my buddy a screenshot and apologize. "Sorry, I've made you take the blame again." Unexpectedly, he was thrilled. Mikai introduced me to director Chang Zhang and said he'd cast me in his next movie. Fang Yuan said, "Next time this kind of blame comes up, you have to let me take it again. My entire acting career depends on you." I was just worrying over nothing. She must have done her homework after going home, because Mikai had endless ways to pursue someone. The most shocking of all was that she resumed posting on WeChat moments. She still had a habit of posting selfies, but the frequency increased dramatically. She posted once a day without fail, and her photos became more and more revealing, assaulting my eyes every single time. Whenever I came across one of her posts on moments, I would first look around like a thief, making sure no one was watching before opening the full image. It was a very strange feeling. Back when I thought she was a woman playing the field, I could, without any guilt, admire and critique her beauty. But now, knowing these pictures were posted especially for me alone, I hardly dared look at them. After all, such blatant temptation felt far too much like flirting from afar. After days of this relentless bombardment, I finally couldn't take it anymore. I messaged her to make her stop. "Stop posting. I really don't like looking at these." Mikai replied instantly, "Of course, I know you don't like them. I'm just openly seducing you." My face started burning again. Mikai knew how to respect someone when pursuing them. She knew when to press forward and when to pull back, and never cross the line. Especially with me, she knew exactly what to do. And she was overflowing with love. Falling for her was almost too easy. We made our relationship official on an ordinary winter day. By then, she'd been filming with the crew for nearly a month. She pursued me like a clingy little puppy. Whenever she could, she found ways to be around me. Then suddenly, I didn't see her for a whole month. The sense of loss in my heart was beyond words. I clearly realized I was missing her desperately, aching to see her. And once that longing took root, there was no holding it back. On impulse, I immediately booked a flight to where her crew was filming. I hastily tossed a few changes of clothes into a suitcase, called a ride, and prepared to head straight to the airport. But the moment I opened my front door, I saw a travel-worn Mikai standing outside. She looked as though she'd just arrived too. On her wool coat, there were still a few snowflakes that hadn't melted yet. The cold had turned her skin slightly pale, but her lips were a luscious, tempting red. When she looked up and saw me, a dazzling smile bloomed across her face. In that moment, it felt as if the entire hallway had been lit up by her smile. Breathing clouds of white, she asked, "It's freezing outside. Where are you going with that suitcase?" I answered honestly, "I was about to come find you at the set." She paused, then understood. She took a huge step forward and threw herself into my arms. I held her tightly, watching the snow on her shoulders melt little by little in my warmth. After a long while, her gentle whisper reached my ear. "On such a cold winter day, being held so tightly by you, it feels so wonderful." That night, she stayed over at my place. Though we did nothing inappropriate, the air was still filled with a sweetness too thick to fade. For a couple newly in love, happiness seemed so simple and pure. Even an accidental meeting of the eyes could instantly spark crackling fireworks between us. Even the rhythm of our heartbeats carried a honey-sweet flavor. Only later did I learn that after I fell asleep that night, she secretly posted on Weibo, "The reason I worked so hard to reach the top of the entertainment industry was so he could see me at a glance. Today, my wish finally came true." She included a close-up of our fingers intertwined. That very night, the entire fandom was rocked by a full-blown seismic meltdown. Weibo's servers crashed instantly, and the culprit behind that online tsunami, yet without a shred of guilt, pulled the covers over herself and slept soundly curled up in my arms. Early in our relationship, Fang Yuan took the blame for us more than a few times. Now that we truly ended up together, naturally, we needed our good friend to keep running interference. Thanks to his determined cover-up, throughout my long relationship with Mikai, I, an outsider to the industry, was never exposed to the public eye. He and Mikai protected me perfectly. At the next annual fashion gala, Fang Yuan and Mikai were both on the guest list. They invited me to come along and watch. I had nothing else to do, so I grabbed my bag and went. Backstage, I went to Fang Yuan's dressing room first. He'd become very popular lately. His daily schedule was packed, and he was run off his feet. I hadn't seen him in nearly a month. His assistant didn't stop me, so I pushed the door open myself. He was still touching up his makeup before the mirror, his eyes still closed. I crept farther inside. He suddenly said, "Stop pretending. I know those footsteps anywhere." I sighed. "What kind of ears do you have?" "Human ears." He opened his eyes and looked over. I gave him a careful once-over, then let out a surprised sound. "You look pretty good." Ignoring his teasing, I replied smugly, "I am a tiny bit more handsome." He paused slightly, then casually tossed out, "I think I know what you were like in 7th grade." It sounded completely unrelated, but somehow, I understood what he meant. My mindset really had been changing lately. I was healthier and more positive, more optimistic. I was starting to feel again like every flower in the world was blooming for me. Fang Yuan gave her his stamp of approval too. "Mikai's a great catch." Though the change was my own, it truly came from Mikai's influence. In her eyes, there was nothing lacking in me. Even if I was only breathing, she would praise me sincerely. I could picture her clearly. She would prop her chin in both hands, stare at me for ages with stars in her eyes, and marvel, "You can breathe. Wow, that's incredible." With that kind of encouragement, how could I not feel confident? I meant not to think about her, but now I could not suppress the urge to go see her. Fang Yuan waved me off with a sour look. "Get out. Stop rubbing it in." I blew him a kiss. "I'll come see you again later." Mikai's dressing room was close to Fang Yuan's. No one stopped me there either. I pushed the door open and walked in. The room was silent. She was sitting alone on the couch. She was surprised to see me. "Why are you here so soon? Weren't you going to talk with Fang Yuan longer?" I was too embarrassed to tell her the truth, so I sat down at the other end. But it was as if she could read my mind. She slowly moved closer. She leaned close to my ear and whispered, "I missed you too." Every place her breath brushed tingled all at once. Afraid the mood would get out of hand if I stayed there, I took out my phone to distract myself. My eyes landed on WeChat, and I suddenly remembered a question I'd overlooked for a long time. I asked her, "How did we first become WeChat friends?" Mikai smiled. "It was at a fashion gala, too. You came backstage to see Fang Yuan, and a group of girls surrounded you, asking for your WeChat." I remembered. It was near the end of last year. Fang Yuan was not this famous back then. Those women all worked with him. I did not want to affect his work, so I accepted almost everyone. She said, "I recognized you at once. I had my assistant use my phone to add you too." I teased her. "Why didn't you come yourself?" Putting on airs? If Mikai had added me with that face of hers, there was no way I would have forgotten. She looked utterly helpless. She said, "I wanted to, but I really couldn't. The moment I saw you, my legs went weak. I couldn't take a single step." Those gentle words stirred towering waves in my heart. Every day, she seemed to redefine everything I believed. Just how deeply did she love me? It was a question I could spend a lifetime exploring. She was still gazing at me adoringly, while my mind was a complete mess. I leaned closer and kissed her first. Outside, a chaotic din of voices filled the air, but she and I stayed curled up in the room, sharing this little haven of quiet, lingering sweetness. I was glad I had been brave enough then. I think I will keep being brave.